Hey, it's a dude here, Victory at Boss. Truly excited to find myself in this position once again. If you're a new customer or a returning customer, you agree with me that I usually invest a whole lot of resources, energy, and time to ensure that my customers get the best, especially with new products like these. I take a time to ensure that my customers are making the best use of it, and of course they are directing the tool to the angle or direction that will truly be a benefit, and of course bring back some bucks to their account. And that is why Upreachr, it's not a different case. This is one of those excited moments I usually have to want to take you on a step-by-step walkthrough, which I believe you're already making use of Upreachr. There are some tricks already, you're already getting mastery on. But today I will just give you a quick brush up of all about Upreachr, and of course how you can monetize Upreachr. How can you make some investment return back to you with Upreachr, even when you were just a basic user or you've gotten our agencies. All of the trick and some tip I'll be exposing to you will truly be of great support to you. Alright, so while this discussion goes on, I'll also be taking you through all about Upreachr, becoming an influencer, and of course offering agency service influencer marketing. So at this point, I would want to quickly take you on straight to our Upreachr dashboard so that we'll quickly see all about Upreachr, and of course then see the tip and trick on how you can become an influencer using of course influencer marketing with Upreachr, and how you can start offering agency service this time not to our other prospects but the influencers to whom you are getting their leads using Upreachr, and how can you in an overall sense use Upreachr to start a different kind of business, which is called influencer marketing, which is exactly the access that Upreachr is granting you. Alright, so I want to believe you're super pumped and you've removed all distractions around you and want to invest the less than an hour into all of this, which I'm going to be showing to you. Alright, so let's get down to the dashboard. Alright, so we are on Upreachr dashboard, which you're already familiar with. And of course, once you get on the dashboard, it already points to you the actions you need to take. It starts with the first flow of searching for influencers, filtering your influencers based on your niches. So where are the locations or where are the sources you could go check for these influencers? Of course, we have 7 sources, a whopping 7 sources, which is one of the powerful resource tool out there when it comes to getting influencers. So we beat our chest to say it is not easy to take on all of these platforms, but with Upreachr you have access to influencers who are already rocking the industry on these platforms. We have Instagram, which is at the top burner right here. Of course, we have Twitter influencers, we have YouTube influencers, we have another top burner, which is the TikTok influencers, we have the Reddit influencers, we have the blog influencers, we have term influencers. So whichever of the platform you want to push your content to, or you want to drive your market audience from, you can of course select it, and it's going to take you to the search panel where you can filter your searches based on your need. Alright, so let's start first. Let's see how the Instagram looks like. Of course, it's pretty the same flow that comes here. So we'll have a quick check on all of these and then come back to how you can use it. Now, we want to get on Instagram. Right now on Instagram, we are seeing that you can filter your search based on your niche interest. Are you just looking for influencers who are within the category of business and marketing? Those within beauty and fashion, those within cars, automobile, vehicles, children, family, whatever your interest may be, the list goes on and on. But let's say you're interested in just those who are into how to and style. because of the pandemic, most persons already showed interest on some skills they could quickly lay their hands on and make quick money for themselves while at home. So you could look at how to, or if you have some specific niches you want to work with, you can go ahead with that. Now you can define what kind of profile account they have, if it's business or personal, or if it doesn't really matter to you, you could just state all. That you can see the options right there, business or personal. The account type, are you interested in account type that is verified or that is unverified? That doesn't really matter if you do select all, right? So you can also streamline your locations if you're looking at persons within the United States, Switzerland, Australia. So wherever your location is, you can then further streamline your target. So this is more like less targeting your influencers, hoping or believing that their audience control will also be persons within this location, which also gives you an outright target marketing, right? Audience target marketing. So you can specify any of the locations right here. So I could just say United States. Of course, I can still come down here and say, of course, my influencers, I want someone within 20K or 40K minimum of followers, and of course a maximum of 50 million, and I wanted to have an email. Now the reason why you should be particular with email is that Upreachr at the moment has been optimized to send conversational emails to these influencers. And why it is this powerful, it's because all the template of our mail has been written by a 7-figure copywriter, which is also sound in social influencer marketing, which really knows what message triggers any influencer who could be really busy in the industry or in a schedule, but upon seeing the message will always want to give attention and always want to give that regard to respond to you. These guys are really busy. Of course, they are celebrities, if we want to use this to describe them. So how do you get their attention and make them work for you? So that's the power you get with Upreachr. So I want to select has email. And once you select that, the next I hit and search. Alright, so right here I have a couple of influencers that have popped up within this category. So whichever of them that is of interest to you, you can see that these are truly influencers. These already have about 3 million followers with just 4 following. And if you go down, this is about 1.9 followers. And if you go through their content, you can of course get to see their course with which they are promoting. We have hair obsessed, skincare lover, and much more. And of course you could get into their pages, but based on those who are following them, if you're interested in the numbers, then you could start coming down to select, and once you select, you could add them to list, or you can go directly to contact. So we'll hit more on this. Let me quickly show you the interface of other platforms that are supported right here on Upreachr. So coming back, we hit in search. So in search, we say Twitter. So in Twitter, the same thing applies. So this time, let's say I'm working with beauty and fashion. I'm picking United Kingdom. I can say I want minimum of 10,000 to about maximum of 10 million, and has email. I hit and search. So it's going to fetch the record. Right, so it populates our results for us. And of course, we could see this is about 13,000 followers. Goes down to the 19,000 followers. So as much persons you want to, you can come make several selections you want to make, since you don't know which of them will truly have an attractive pricing for you. So you can always target about a minimum of 5 to 7. Once you select them, you can of course say add all selected to list. This is another option you can use. So if you do select that, it is assumed that you've already created a list. If you've created one, you can go ahead to do so. But if you've not, you can of course come to add list, or you can also come down to the menu at the top here, add list, which will give you provision to create new list. So you could just say add list. Of course, you don't have anyone created here, so you can come down here to select a new list which you want to add all of these influencers into. So let's just say we're looking at beauty and fashion. So we select this beauty and fashion, and we hit on add this. So it is added, and notice here that all our selections still remains, meaning that you can still come back to say add all selected to list, and of course select the new list you've created. It's not showing yet because we've not refreshed the page. So you can always get the page refresh, get your selections redone. So let's hit this. So at this point I could just say select, oh sorry for that. Alright, so at this point I could just say select all. Once I hit on select, it selects all. I can now come to saying add all selected to list, and of course you could also change your display format right here at the left bottom, depending on which of the display formats you appreciate more. So I can now come back to say add all selected to the list, and we have a new list here, beauty and fashion. So I just hit straight, I've gotten new leads, and this new lead, so imagine having direct influencers you are interested in having their entire email addresses. You could always hit back to them to propose businesses. These are of course celebrities you are reaching out to and having their contact details to reach out to them. Now going to all the platforms we have here, let's quickly look at all the platforms. We have YouTube influencers. So pretty the same process goes on and on. You do the same thing, select a niche, pick a location, pick your minimum or subscribers you're looking at for that you're interested in working with, not just any or of course not just any account you want to work with, and you can streamline this, saying a minimum of 10k, maximum of 10 million has email address. I hit on the search, I do the same thing, go add it. So the process is just the same. It's quite dynamic at this point. So if you get a blank screen like this, meaning a particular category or niche does not have a profile specialized on that, so you could hover around to other categories or other niches. So let's say we're looking at entertainment and we're looking at within this category or location, and we are looking into this, then my boomer Steve that is just crying outside there. So of course you can see we have influencers right here. So you can also do the same thing. If you choose to select all, you could also deselect all. Whichever one you want to work with, go straight add them to a list. So coming back here, let's also preview all of these guys right here. So again, we look at the TikTok influencers. Right, so with TikTok influencers, you're expected to type in your keyword. You could type several keywords and space it. So let's say we are looking at hair. You could have beauty, and I want to select my location. Let's just say United States. You could also do the same thing and have your maximum follower right there. Hit and has email. Hit on this. Right, so you can see we already have influencers popping up right here. We have a whole lot of collections of the influencers we are looking for. Of course, we could see their followers, so you could select whichever one you want to from influencers. We could then come back to hit and search to get to other platforms. We have read it here. So have some results here. You could also choose to leave what you have here. You could just leave it to minimum, leave it to maximum, to allow you to manually select which of the profiles you want to work with. Going back to search, we're looking at the blog platform here. You could also get influencers or bloggers which you could work with and have your content published on the blogs, hoping to get the same control of influence they have on their audience. Pretty the same thing also applies here. This time the metric of measure, it's Alexa ranking, which you could set up any of the minimum Alexa ranking based on the order, and the maximum it should be based on the order. Of course, the lower it is based on your location clearly shows how often that a particular blogger is being recognized within his region as well as his niche. So finally, we also get to see the Tumblr influencers platform, which we have here. So once you are done with this, pretty same thing also applies. You select a niche, your location, your minimum followers, your maximum followers, and when you do so, you will have all of your influencers published right seen below. So you have influencers published right there. So once you're done with influencers, you can always come back to your list right here. Depending on what you want to do, you can now see that from your list you can directly manage this list. What do you want to achieve? Do you want to directly export this email list you've gotten into your autoresponders? That's why you see under beauty and fashion, we now have 5 contacts on our list. What can we do? If you look at the little icon here, you can migrate it to your autoresponder. If you've already connected your autoresponder, you could also export leads as a CSV file. You could also enter to edit it, and you could choose to discard it if you don't want to work with the list again. So you could also choose to hit on the contact menu there. The contact menu takes you straight. So with the contact right here, you already have the subject, and you can select which of the templates you want to work with, and you have the message populate here, which has already been drafted out by a copywriter. So whatever you want to modify, you can come down straight here to modify it. And of course, you can select whichever campaign you may have defined to work with. I'm also going to show you how you create campaign. You can then go straight to send a message. You can also choose to schedule it after 1 hour for it to be sent if you have other campaigns you have designed. So that now brings us to setting up a campaign. Setting up a campaign is actually the instruction of what you want these influencers to do for you. So once I hit on campaigns, you can get to see the different kind of campaigns you could design here. We have several campaigns that has been designed. You can filter it based on that which has been drafted, that which we've already sent out that is processing, and campaigns that has already been done. So if I do hit on create new, I need to give my campaign a name. So let's just say beauty, which is what we have there, and fashion. I can then come to hit on create. Now it processes that for me. While I'm on create here, it's not asking the objective. Of course, every campaign, even if you're doing ads campaign, you need to define your objective. What do you want to achieve with this campaign? Do you want to promote products and services? Maybe you are into affiliate marketing, or you have a product you want to sell, a digital product you want to sell, or physical products you want to sell, and you want to drive much traffic to it, to have these of course loyal followers of these influencers to get to notice it and of course take decision to buy. Then that brings us to my objective, of course, is to promote a product or to promote my service. Now, do you want to conduct a product review or a service review where you want to engage these followers and get to see their reactions, their comment, the engagement which they have, the thought about your product or services? Or do you have an event you want to promote and you want to give out the ticket, the contact details, and you want them to sign up for this event? Or do you just want to drive traffic to your website, have them to visit the website, and once you get to your website, you get them converted at that point? Or do you have an app you want them to install so that you have an inflow of persons who would come in as a search to want to install your app? Or you have something else in mind you want to do with this audience, the traffic you'll be getting from these influencers? So whatever the case may be, once you define your objective, you can then move on to the general information for your setup. You could set up your brand name, so you could call this Beauty Flux. All right. So once you set that up as Beauty Flux, next you can hit on next, which brings you to the contract. The contract is actually the URL of your product which you want to promote. So whatever your product is, you could just have it HTTP. Let's say we just want to use Google there / okay, let's just say www.myproduct.com, whatever it is, and you're saying for this project I want to spend just $300 to get this project done, or whatever your currency is, you could state it there. Now, what's the campaign tax? This is where you really need to be calculative. When we get to other tips where we're showing you some specific tax you want to mention that will give you some edge of into becoming influencers, this is where it really lies. So in your campaign tax, if you're looking at Instagram, where are the possible places that your content could be posted on Instagram? First, on their page. You could also have them pin your content on their stories. You could also have them set it up as their profile and have your link on their bio. So these four places, you could of course define it in the campaign tags you are giving to them right here. So say please, I would, when the content of this campaign, which I will be sharing to you daily for 7 days, whatever your proposal, whatever duration you want to propose, it is more like a business proposal that you're giving here. So it will be further open for review again, and whatever is agreed upon, that is then you could have a sealed deal. So please, I would want the content of this campaign, which I'll be sharing to you daily for 7 days, to be pinned on your stories feed, posted on your post feed, link pin to your bio, as well as on every stories, and add my hashtag, add a hashtag, the hashtag. You could state a hashtag you want to add, whatever your hashtags you want to be added. My hashtag, you could have it there, whatever hashtag you may have created for this, state it there. And you can also state here, it's my handle, which you would want to also state. So whatever your handle is, my handle, you also state it there, which you want to be embedded. So once you're done with all of this, you can then come to save, or you go to next, which will then take you to the tracking setup. So at this point, if you want to set up Facebook Pixel, or you want to set up the Google Analytics, you can go ahead to do that. But your tracking URL becomes this. This is the URL which you will give out to the influencers, which is what will also be sent as an email campaign which you'll be creating. So if you want to set up Facebook Pixel, if you have it set up, all you need to do, you drop the code right in there, and you can then use Facebook Pixel to track the conversions of this campaign that has been created. Then you can then come down here and hit on save. If you hit on save, you have successfully created this new campaign. So we have a new campaign created right here. Okay, we didn't get to copy the URL, but if you click on this, all right, if you come down to edit right here and click on that URL, you get to see this is the tracking URL which we got. So once you open this on a new page, hoping that we've sent this out to our influencer, what will our influencer get to see? So at this point, you notice that it has redirected the influencer to your URL which you are promoting. Can you see that? So it redirected the URL which we stated right there. And notice at this point you have 0 visits, and for the refresher, so notice that we have 2 visits, showing that this campaign, the tracking setup is working quite good. So once you're done with your campaign setup right here, of course the next thing you're looking at, it's getting to. So once you've confirmed that your tracking is working rightly, the next is confirming your contract detail, which is what you'll be giving out. So this is the contract detail which you'll also be sharing to the influencer to also check out. So once the influencer does check out these details, so you notice here that the influencer on the contract details already has the stated destination, which is the earlier URL you tested, to be sure that is redirecting. And you have the goal stated here, promote products and services, and you have the campaign ID. Right here you have the task to do that you're giving the influencer, and you have your budget price stated here. So the influencer has the right to reject, accept, or propose a negotiation. So if he does propose a negotiation, states his name, his phone number, currency, and drops a message here for you for how much his services will be going up for to promote. And if he does reject it, this then goes off. So all the details you have here is stated in the contract. So going back to our campaign setup here, once we save it, then brings us back to the list point where we were. On our list point right now, I can then come back to say I want to contact this entire list. So if I hit on contact this entire list, I pick on any of my message template, I will then come down to my campaign type which I want. So I've selected my campaign that has been inserted into the body of my message, which is what we have here. Say for more info, which is what has been inserted right here. So once that is done, I can then come hit on send, and Upreachr will handle the entire automation for us using the internal mailing system to push it out for us. But if you want to, of course, improve some performance and get things done yourself, you can then come back here to the connect. The connect section here allows you to actually set up your own mailing SMTP options you want it to work with. You can state your host name, you can also state your port right here, you can state your encryption, you can state your from name and your from email address. Since you're not going to be sending bulk email, you could use your regular Gmail account and set up an XMTP. To allow you to do this, you can just go Google for Gmail SMTP. So if you say Gmail SMTP parameters, you could have it right there. You can see parameters, you can copy out and drop in settings. So can you see you have your username, which should be your Gmail email address. You have your password, which should be your Gmail password, and on your server address you're expected to put smtp.gmail.com. On the Gmail SMTP port, you are required to use 587 or port 467. CSS required, yes. So with all of these details you have right here, you can then come back here on your host. You've already copied that out, you have it. Now this should be your Gmail account which you're using, which is what you use there. The password should be the password you're already using for your Gmail account. Now when it comes to your port options here, of course you see the option. If you're using 465 is already an SSL port which is required, so you've stated that, you're stating 465, and you state your encryption. We have TSL SSL required. Then your from name should be whatever name you bear. Your from email address should be the email address you stated there, whatever email address you want to put there. Alright, once you're done, you can come ahead to test and save your mailing settings. And once you do so, that's all you need, and you have a good delivery because you're using Gmail. So that's if you're interested in getting this done. And of course, you can always come back to get to see your templates and set up automated messaging to your target influencers. So on my template right here, you see the entire collections of template that has already been drafted in by the influencers. You can see template message 1 down to 7, and you could also come down to set up your auto messaging. You could also create your auto messaging right here, edit it. If you've set up anyone, your auto messaging are actually messages you've scheduled to be sent out. So you find it here, you can choose to edit it or you could delete it. So once you have the message right here, you can update whatever you want to update, or you go back to the list. So you can see all of it here. Right on campaign, you could also get to see approve or campaigns, which has become deal. So if you have it, you have it as approved, and it will now shown as deal you already have. Now coming to the image tools, of course, image tools allows you to find images for your design. Since most of the platforms, Instagram allows you to have, requires you to have a good graphics appeal content. Same also applies with Twitter as well as thumbnail and our TikTok. Across all of them, it requires you to have a good there's an image appeal. So let's just say we're looking at beauty, and if you have a category, you could just say fashion, and you hit and search. You can search for about any of your image requirements, whichever one you want to use for your design to create the appeal you want. So you can either preview it, you could download it, or you can also choose to copy the URL, which is what you would then use for your design. You can then come down to your image editor, make your entire designs that you want to work with, and of course add your content to it and start promoting. So let's say I'm interested in copying this URL. I've copied up that. I can then come back to my image editor. So my image editor, I hit and design new graphics. So my design new graphics, I just want to drop my URL here, and our graphics will call up the image. So all I need to do is open. Once I have it open right there, I can start playing with all of the tools here. If I want to crop, crop the size I want to crop it to, I want to rotate, I want to resize, or make the edges turn round, I could add the radius and apply it as well. So once I do that, I can then come to save, add whatever name I want to add it. I could just add new and hit and save. Then I'll be getting a new image which we then loaded into my local machine. I can also come down to add as much text as I may want to in using it for my design. So once I get the text I want to add, I can then come over to my text layer, add whichever content I want to add and use it for my design. So I could add my line weight if I want to, my line outline if I want to add it. So that's how much you can go adding all of this setup that we have right here. And of course we have other elements which are drawing elements. You can use, we have filters you can use, and we have shapes which you can use in your design, speaking any of these. Alright, so let's go back to dashboard. We also have connected to our Upreachr the using images, which you can always link your using account to fetch your images you have there. And we have a whole lot of collections of autoresponders which you can of course get activated to always export your contact list into them. Alright, so that's especially how you can go about using Upreachr. So the other tips we're looking at is how you can go about using Upreachr. Now notice here that with Upreachr you can create lists of influencers, like we are of course established it before. These are also seen as celebrities, and of course celebrities are persons who already have the money. They have the money to pay for any kind of services. So think about other tools you may have gotten access to, marketing tools you may have gotten access to, graphics design tools you may have gotten access to, video creating tools you may have gotten access to. Sometimes these influencers outsource their designs, they outsource their content, how they want their content displayed, or how to further work on the photos or work on the videos which they want to post. You could also use Upreachr as a source of getting leads of these celebrities or influencers and start marketing some of these services to them. That is one powerful way you could also use Upreachr. You will not struggle for how much are they going to be paying you. You can offer to be offering these design services to them, or other digital services which they may have been looking at for our persons or resource persons they could be using, which could be relatively cheaper for them from others who may have been managing such taxes for them. That's one. Now on the other hand, you could also use Upreachr to make your account, grow your account, to also become an influencer yourself. This all begins with the instruction you give right inside of your campaign. Now let's see. So right here in this campaign, I want to open up and show you what specific instruction I gave in this campaign. Coming down to, okay, that's our contract information. Notice in the contract information, I requested that my hashtag should be used. I also stated that my handle should be used. So what this does is, each time you ask an influencer to post the content or promote the content for you, which is a direct content, and you have your handle on it, you have a hashtag on it, what it means is you will gradually be siphoning its own followers to yours, for those persons who are interested in your content, that then means that you need to make your content powerful, you need to be informative enough, you need to be engaging enough, so that once these followers come to check out on your profile, they will be interested to stick to you, they'll be interested to stick on your profile, because they will, or usually, or they perceive that they could be getting something of value, content that will always enrich them, or of course add some further knowledge to them. Now, on this my account, I was less than 7K followers some few months ago, but when I started using influencer marketing, within less than 14 days, I had 2 times a growth to my follower base, which gradually is positioning my account within the Instagram influencers and having more features. So as this keeps growing, that's how the account will also be growing. So that's a very powerful angle which you can use with our influencer marketing. And you could also promote this to your prospects, which you can use to have them as clients, or proposing to them that you have a tool, you have an arsenal of tools which you can use to make their account to grow over time, for them to become an influencers themselves. You could also use it for yourself, and of course get some revenues with Upreachr. The other aspect of Upreachr we talked about is, of course, becoming an influencer authority, offering influencer marketing. Now, if you've been doing other forms of marketing, email marketing, social media marketing, Upreachr, it's one angle which you can also propose to your prospect, that they could tie in a twist of influencer marketing to start reaching more engaged audiences. You can also go as far as creating your account on several freelance portals like Fiverr.com, freelance.com, Upworks. So these are some of the freelance portals you could go ahead to create an account for which you could start promoting right there. So you could start promoting right on Fiverr. You have the page here. You could just say influencer marketing. Let's see how many persons we have already promoting that. Let's just say social influence marketing. Right, so hit and search, and let's see the results. Right here you'll see we have people who are already setting up gigs on this. We have the Lone Buccaneer, who says I will manage a social media influencer marketing campaign, already having about 4 requests and starting at $95. And this proposes to be your social influencer, media influencer, which is about $60, and it has already made about 20 sales. This is about 41 sales. I will provide you a list of top Instagram influencer accounts. Can you see that just this alone made about $50 for each of this setup? Now, I'm really interested in this because within Upreachr, you already have access to gather millions, hundreds of millions of top influencers across 7 platforms. So that is crazy. So we come down here, we check this up. This is, I will provide you a list of top Instagram influencers, and notice here that his basic plan is going for as low as $50, and the standard plan is going for $55, which is Instagram influencers list plus tips. On his premium account, which is about $110, premium exclusive customized going for $110, which is standard package along the premium account with great results. Now let's just do the mathematics. In just this setup alone, this guy has gotten about 41 reviews, those who have actually come back to appreciate what he has done. So let's say the 41 persons only came in for the basic offer. Now at this point I want to get my calculator so that you get to see the potential you have with our Upreachr. Now you have $50 by 41. How much will you be making? You're already making $2,000 right here using Upreachr, just gathering this list and selling them out. So isn't that something that you should invest your time into? All right, so I want to believe while you're there listening to this, you should already be giving a double thumbs up for Upreachr, because Upreachr has really come to empower you. So that's how powerful Upreachr is, and I believe with these little tips and tricks, and exposure I've given to you, you'll be able to make the most out of your Upreachr account. So far we've seen all about Upreachr, and we've also seen how we could also become an influencer ourselves by injecting some specific lines on our campaign details we are giving to our influencers, which will gradually siphon the followers of these influencers to also become ours. We've also looked at offering agency services like marketing, other tools we've got in, either creating of video content, graphics content, and other tax that these influencers may have. Since they already have the money to pay, it will not be something difficult for them to want to access to us. We'll also look at how we can also start offering influencer marketing services to our prospect. And of course, flashing back to example, we've seen that with just Upreachr gathering of leads alone, that can also become a business. There are people out there who are interested in this, and we have tons of them. So once again, thank you for staying put and remain your dude, Victory Post.